dopamine is very important to live. Without dopamine, basically you can't live. To understand dopamine to very in that habit loop formation. Now, when you do something pleasurable for the first time, there's no loop inside your brain. Let's say you have your first smoke, first alcohol. The dopamine only spikes after you finish that loop for the first time. Now, to give an example, let's say you have a smoke, then you have the first smoke, and then you complete the action. Once you complete the action, you get a spike of dopamine in your brain. Now, if you do that action multiple times and it becomes a permanent habit loop inside your brain, a very strange things start to happen. That's what's dangerous about habit formation. I told you at the very beginning of a habit loop, dopamine only spike after you complete the action. Now, once you become addicted to a certain thing, whether it's a recreational drug, alcohol, the dopamine start to spike when you anticipate the action. Let's say you are a smoker, and even before you start get your smoke in your hand, dopamine start to spike in your brain. Let's say you are addicted to marijuana, ecstasy, ice, or any drug. Even before you take that drug into your body, the mere thought of thinking about that drug make that dopamine spike go high. That's where the danger is. So now that's why, let's say you are an alcoholic or drug addict, then you anticipate the reward, and then the dopamine level go really high. But then let's say you don't get the drug that day, or you don't get to have that smoke that day, then the dopamine levels start to plummet. So thereby suddenly you are thinking to be so happy, but then you don't get that reward, and then you get into lows. That's why you get very moody and grumpy when you don't get that to complete that action. Now, how do we use that principle to make a habit? Because no point in knowing the chemical dopamine. Now, then we have to understand the concept of called temptation bundling. Again, a big word, but in a very easy to understand way. Temptation bundling means you bundle something that is not desirable to you with something that is desirable. Give example, a long time ago when I was really unfit and very unhealthy, I hated exercise. I haven't done a single day, but in the morning, when I woke up in the morning, I always done my workout in the hope that I was getting a nice breakfast from my wife. So I had my temptation bundling where I use something that I don't like to do, which is my daily exercise, with something that I was anticipating. In the Atomic Habit book also, they mention about this American guy who's quite a smarter guy than me, who was actually very unfit, and he loved to watch Netflix. So, but he was a couch potato watching Netflix, but then he designed his exercise bike to only start when he is actually doing the bike. So thereby he could watch Netflix only when you are riding the bike. So that's the concept of temptation bundling, where you bundle something that you love to do, which is not essentially really good, with something that is desirable, that will be a good habit into your life. Yeah, so let's talk about this concept called temptation bundling. It's a very unique concept that was introduced by the book Atomic Habits. In a very basic way, it's where you bundle something you love to do with something you hate to do. To give example, let's say you love watching Netflix, but you hate to do bike riding. So how do you combine that together? You simply put your iPad in your indoor bike, and then put a Netflix show, and then you watch Netflix and do bike riding together. So that's the very essence of a concept of the temptation bundling. And I've done it multiple times in my life where, for example, every day in the morning I run. I hate running because I'm not a good runner, but I have like either my dance music or some very upbeat music running on the background, and I start running. And so that's a very nice way where you can bundle anything you love to do with something you hate to do. Because humans, I mean, we don't have to make our life any more miserable than what it is, you know. Why do we have to create something the hard way? Because some people I see, they don't use these methods in their life, and they do things very miserable way. Because even with exercise, I'm asking my patients, choose something that you love to do. If you don't love to go to gym, you could go to a dance class and do something like a dancing, a Zumba, or something that is you have passion for. So thereby, it's not one size fit all for all of anybody. What fits for me is not what fits for you. So in a summary, know about dopamine, what does it to your brain, and combine that dopamine hit with your temptation bundling, right? Because we all want to be happy, we all want to feel that desire, and you are never ever gonna do anything hard if it doesn't have any pressure. Because these activities you would only be picked to do repetitively if it gives you pleasure. If you do not find pleasure in these activities, whether be it exercises or eating healthy, you are not gonna repeat it, right? I mean, if I ask a patient to eat broccoli, and this guy is a lifelong KFC guy, he is not gonna do it, right? But if I ask him to eat that broccoli while watching his favorite show, he'll do it. Because that watching that favorite show while eating that disgusting broccoli for him creates that temptation bundling. So I want you guys to look in your life, look for things that you love to do, and then look for things that you must do, whether it's a daily exercise, waking up in the morning, writing your journal, bundle them together.